morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gray Beards. I'm your Wayne, and I always mess up
Bug.
the Bug over here.
Bug over
After
here.
our holiday season here, as we're getting ready to bring in a new year this week.
Oh,
I know,
another
right?
year of toil, another year of work.
Yeah, it's just like, but it goes by. I don't know about you, but I swear it just seems like it was last year this
Yeah,
time going, wow, it's Christmas over and here we are again. It just is like, don't blink, they say.
that's true. Next event, of course, New Year's, and after that, January 6th. You know what I'm saying? New administration change. See how that's gonna go. It's the 6th, right? January 6th.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's just
Uh-oh.
when because you threw me for a loop when you said January 6th. I was like, nah.
You think you had a flashback?
I'm so tired of hearing about it, right? He incited an insurrection. I'm sure there's people out there will think that, but
Yeah. Yeah. But actually, when does it go in office? When does the office change?
I want to, it's usually like the
14.
20th, somewhere around there. Um,
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
They do the
I want
changeover.
to say it's like the 21st this year, but I don't quote me on it. I don't know for certain.
2 weeks. 2 weeks changeover. It's a long
Yeah,
changeover. But I guess when we run the nation, it takes a
yeah.
while to check all those 1800s and stuff.
But
Yeah.
I,
Um,
you know, we talked earlier about what we want to talk about this week, and
yeah.
um, I wanted to get your feeling on how what Christmas was in the Sharp household as you grew up, and how it compares to today.
Hmm. Well, yeah. Well, back in the day, man, I'll tell you this that my folks went all out on Christmas for its decorating, uh, Santa Claus. We had the annual go sit on the Santa Claus lap, tell them what you want for Christmas. We went through the looking at the J.C. Penney's,
The
the different
catalog,
the
yeah,
Toyland catalog every
yeah.
year. We bring that thing out around November. So Christmas really started out, when I was growing up, started around November, a week before Thanksgiving. Christmas was in the air and we start prepping for that. So I believed in Santa Claus until I was like 15, okay? Finally Pop sat me down and said, boy, you
Don't
what you
tell
think
people
about
that Santa Claus ain't real on here. There may be youngsters watching.
I'm just saying, he kept me. I didn't say it wasn't real. I'm just saying he sat down and talked to me. And he asked me, he says, what you think about Santa Claus? I'm like, eerie silence. I said, I think it's cool. Santa
Yeah,
Claus is cool. Good. Well, you can help Santa bring these toys in. How about that?
yeah.
You're old enough to start helping Santa out, okay? I'm like, all right, that's cool. So anyway, somewhere in the wee hours of the night, me and my brothers, we used to try to catch Santa Claus, right? We would stay up, we'd pretend to be asleep, but we never could catch that dude. We never caught Santa Claus. We would always fall asleep, kind of like that commercial they got. These kids are sitting up and they're trying to wait on Santa Claus, and then they doze off. And then Santa Claus come in there and do what he do. So 5 o'clock in the morning, me and my brothers would wake up, run in the living room. So it was like Toyland. Stuff that we had on our Christmas list plus extra stuff, man.
I
And
know.
we was ripping and tearing and all of that stuff, man. It was a wonderful life. Yeah. So
One of
now comparing it to today, now I'm on the other end of that thing. It's expensive. Santa Claus is got a raise due to inflation, I guess. You know.
I I will tell you personally, I didn't spend a lot of money this year. My wife, it, I give her all the credit. She's always been very good at this stuff. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible gift giver. Once in a while, I get lucky, right?
Yeah.
But I had a very similar upbringing with
Mm.
as you. we were always taught that Santa Claus, and I've come to the realization, and I may have heard this somewhere else. I ain't going to claim to be the originator. That if you think about it, um, we get presents from our Santa Claus, maybe from our parents because we're on the naughty list and Santa didn't show up.
Yeah. Hey, you guys were bad.
Maybe we were on the naughty list, and that's why Santa Claus really, you never really seen Santa presents.
You know, one thing though, my own personal tradition, I should say, was I would kind of sneak away, right? And because it wasn't my birthday, right? It was Jesus's birthday. So I would say, Happy birthday, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Based on what I knew at the
Yeah.
time, you know what I'm saying? So I would pay some homage and I would thank God for, my family and everything that we had, you know what I'm saying? I always been
Amen.
that kind of dude. I was like, hey, and I would pray, hey, give my family a long life, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And so that was it. Back to playing with my toys,
Well, I
So,
mean, truly, I mean, the commercialization of Christmas is a great time, right? It's supposed to bring people together and joyful
mhm.
time, and it is about the birth of Christ.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's the reason for the season.
that is
But
the
yeah, I
reason
would
for
I
the
would do
season.
that. I remember that. This year I think I
Well, you're
kind
a
of
better person than I.
no, it's just, I ain't gonna say better. We all have our strong and weak points. It just
Hmm.
happened to be, yeah. So yeah, man. Now I find myself longing for the old days. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, the commercialization, it's all about it's more about commercialism than it is about,
Hmm.
the family, the love, and all that kind of stuff, man. Because, when I was growing up, I had a bunch of uncles that used to come from everywhere to see, to visit, you know.
I didn't have that.
Yeah, yeah,
You got to keep in
yeah.
mind, my parents only had one sibling, right? On each
Hmm.
side. I had an uncle on my dad's side and an uncle on my mother's side.
Hmm.
So there was no bunch of uncles. We had some
Yeah.
great uncle. I had a
Hmm.
great uncle and aunts around, but they had their own family to go,
Hmm.
right? It
Hmm.
wasn't like they were this single, nowhere else to go. They had
Yeah.
their own.
That was crazy. Now that you mentioned that, it's like everybody had their own family, right? But they would come back to Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Because they had I think it was like, they had strong ties to their parents. My grandmothers lived there. So everybody
Hmm.
would come back. And I wonder, we never really had to travel that far. I mean, my grandparents, I lived with one of my grandparents. And then my mother's mom, it was about, 30 minutes away. We would travel to her house sometimes. But
Hmm.
I wonder what it was like for them uprooting their kids to come down or come up to visit us. Like, wait, we got to put our toys down to go. It seemed like they was excited though, from my perspective. Like they was glad to come. They know, it
Well,
would
they
have been.
probably, that was they probably, I don't know. I'm only speculating here that
Yeah,
you, that was their really one time to get together during the year.
yeah, yeah. And actually, it was they twice. They were well, maybe three times, but twice for sure. Christmas
Mhm.
and Fourth of July was a big thing.
Oh yeah.
Folks they all would travel. You know what I'm saying, and come see their mom, and then, of course bring their family members with them. And we all had a good time.
Yeah.
So grandmother had 16 kids. Other grandmother had 10, 9 or 10.
I can't even imagine that. See, and that's what we talked earlier about
Yeah.
cousins and stuff, how you talk about your cousins and
Hmm.
and I think it's in your culture that you grew
Yeah.
up with, you had big families. Now my wife had
Hmm.
I mean, what I consider big.
Hmm.
Um, there were seven in her, there were seven children and her parents had four.
Hmm.
So it was the four of, so I have three siblings. There's four
Yeah.
of us,
Hmm.
and I hardly talk to them. I
Yeah. Yes.
they're
I'm
one lives in Canada. One
okay.
until recently lived in India, you
Right.
know, for 12 years, and but she lives out in Vegas now. So,
Hmm.
and then my brother he still lives. He don't live in the same town that we grew up in, but he's very close, in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Well, one thing you probably had that I rarely had, if ever, was no pun intended, but a white Christmas. Okay. Y'all probably
Yeah,
had snow. You know what I'm
as a
saying? That was,
child, I did. Yeah, and a good part of my adult life, military had me in North Dakota for 10 of my 20 years in the
all
military.
your Christmases was bright
Yeah, it
in North Dakota.
freaking. I love
Yeah.
North Dakota. I loved it up there in the sense that people were great. I got still have very good friends up there now. That um,
Hmm.
Minnesota as well. My wife's family. As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, I talk to them probably more than my own siblings. So,
Yeah.
and I,
That's awesome.
they just have a different mentality up there. It's really, don't get me wrong. You got POSs everywhere, but for the most part, um, everybody I ever met up there was really super nice, and
Hmm.
they give you the shirt off your back. And around here too, the people that you know are close. And that's one
Hmm.
thing I liked about South Carolina is I thought the people that are really from here that embrace the Southern lifestyle are usually they're very close knit, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You ain't getting in. You're not going to get in. You got to get brought into the
Hmm.
fold, if you will, by
Right.
something that's from here. You know,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know
you
what
gotta
I
be
mean? It's
vouched
like
for.
you can go and talk to pretty much anybody that's from
Yeah.
here, and they're very
Uh-huh.
cordial and very polite and everything like
Hmm.
that. But you're not going to get into the inner circle, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
without
Somebody gotta
knowing.
bring you in.
Yeah, and that's missed by a lot of people in the military
Yeah.
that come here for a short period of time. They
Hmm.
but most, that's a whole nother. We could have a whole subject on
Yeah.
people's perspective of where they're stationed, right? Oh, it sucks here, blah blah blah. That's easy. That's the easy button, right? It's
Hmm.
easy to say
Yeah.
that instead of really seeing what the. I mean, the things about North Dakota I didn't like. Obviously, I didn't mind the winters too much. It was cold and it was
Hmm.
miserable at times. And I'm
Hmm.
kind of a homebody, anyways.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It probably wasn't well, probably about 40 degrees different, but
Oh,
Pennsylvania's, I would imagine, pretty cold. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you was growing up. I would imagine it was pretty cold up
what
there.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Nah, it was well where I lived in Pennsylvania. I was along Lake Erie, Erie, PA,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we'd get this winter snows that were just crazy. But it was I mean, the climate has changed, and I hate to put those two words in, together that
I'm
close.
saying.
We are, the fear mongers of climate. We're affecting our climate. That
Yeah.
whatever. We do have an immediate effect on, water qualities and stuff like that,
Yeah.
air quality. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. We can do better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one volcanic eruption just throws everything that you're
Yeah.
trying
Out
to
the
say
window.
into it's like,
It's like, what the heck, man? We've been doing all
yeah,
this and
you
oof.
know, yeah.
Favorite toy growing up? What was your favorite toy, man? Yeah, Christmas.
The one thing that I mean, there's a couple of them, right? But
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the I've had my mom did such a wonderful. And we didn't have a lot of money, right? My mom really. I don't know how she did it, but she always
Mm-hmm.
made sure we had presents, right? Toys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, clothes. But my favorite, you know,
Which one you can remember the most?
well, I remember. Well, there's actually three things that I
What you got?
remember the most, right? One was the first. Well, yeah, for Christmas. We'll say Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
My mom took me one time and got a Murray tractor, right? a
Oh,
green Murray tractor, and it had a working engine in it.
really?
Yeah, that
Holy
thing was,
smoke, man.
and I was very young, um, probably 5, 6,
Mm-hmm.
maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe younger when she got
Dang.
that for me. I have so many. I'm, so call me weird, right? Maybe it's some.
Mm-hmm.
There's several things, right? That tractor was very instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
It was chain drive, a pedal tractor. It was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I would love to have another one just like it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I do. It's in my garage, but it's adult size.
Yeah. That's right. Tracking, man.
Yeah, but that and I remember a train set that I got that I had
Oh
for.
man.
I had a
Yeah.
train. Yep, I had
Okay.
this a Santa Fe. It was the
It's the one that
H.
blew the smoke and everything.
No, it was the diesel electric style.
Okay.
My dad has one that he had from as a young child that he still has
Mm-hmm.
in a box somewhere. I don't know if it even still works anymore. He
Dang.
don't mess
My
with
dad
it.
had a real he had a real train, man. That the engine was the locomotive part of it, right? Was about the size of this book.
Yeah,
It
that
was a
O.
huge
Yeah,
train, man.
I think that's they
And
call O scale or whatever.
you can't even
Yeah.
find them damn things. At least I don't know where to find them.
Oh,
And
they're
man,
out
that
there. Where we lived in Erie, there was Mark's Toys there, so there
Mhm.
was um always, of course. But I digress. I always had these toy trucks, Tonka trucks, Nylant dump
Yeah,
trucks, all kinds.
yeah.
And I always, as a very young child, I always had these trucks. I got a lot of them for Christmas, but there's a ton of things, man.
Yeah,
It's so hard
yeah.
to even to go back and think about them all. It's just
I got you,
um,
man. And
I
me, it was
I
like, go
very
ahead, go
special
ahead.
time. Very special time for me. Um, my mom always she did it. I mean, Halloween was always big. We had I swear the pumpkins were like this tall, like I can't even, like they were like two, but they
The Great
weren't,
Pumpkin.
we had these plastic pumpkins that we would go fill up and
Yeah,
Halloween
dang.
was she always she'd make us costumes and
Oh,
um but that
man.
changed as we got older,
Yeah,
obviously. But
dang. That sounds like some fun,
yeah,
man.
we always
You
said
know,
she would always cook I mean, always she make this big meal for Christmas, on
mm,
Thanksgiving. Um, yeah, she
mm.
really
Went all out, huh?
went all
Dang.
out. I don't know how she did it money wise, because well, I know my dad, but he's as much as he irritates me. One thing I can say, my dad was always working. Right, he
Yeah.
always worked something. If because he worked a seasonal job, right? So if it was during the winter time, he was plowing snow or working on cars. He was always
Mm-hmm.
hustling to bring
Mm-hmm.
in extra money. Always had a side gig, and I guess that kind of why I always am always doing something, some kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of instilled in
Same.
me.
That's awesome, man. Shoot. My
What about
toy.
you? What are some of what are give me a couple. I know there's probably more than one. It has to be.
Yeah, it's a lot of them, man. One of them was Evil Knievel.
Oh
The
yeah,
dude,
I didn't get
you
those things.
dude on the motorcycle, you wind this thing up, and then when
Hmm.
you stop winding, he would take off
Hmm.
and he'll run into the wall. And he'll bounce for whatever, however they had this thing balanced, it would land on his tires and he'd run into another wall and he'd just
Hmm.
do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So the Evil Knievel thing, and then of course we built ramps and all kind of stuff. We had to, be
Oh yeah.
creative. Cap guns, well, I grew up on westerns, and my dad was a big cowboy fan. Not Dallas, but just regular Gene Autry type cat. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
Chain, all them. So we had cap guns, cap rifles, bows with arrows, everything.
Hmm.
And then they bought me my I think a major thing was a BB gun, Daisy pump BB gun. I was
And
like,
my
the ecosystem is about to change, baby. I killed so many birds with that thing, man.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
My parents would never let me have a BB gun. They never ever would let me have one.
y'all kind of was in the city though, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
understandable where you
suburbs,
grew up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the
we was
most
out in
part.
the
Yeah.
country, so it was,
The
with
necessity.
plenty, yeah,
You had
plenty of things to see.
those things that would, there was things out there in that country that bite you, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've shot the heads off of. We call them. They're dragonflies, but down south we call them mosquito hawks. So that's some of the names, some of the lingo that we use. But man, we shot everything from frogs to squirrels to birds, lizards. If it moved, it was dogs. We shot dogs.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's why my parents would never let me have one
I was
because
authorized to shoot any animal that came in my yard.
I would have been doing the same thing. I can't keep a
Yeah,
hat straight on my head for some reason. Feels
there it
crooked.
is.
It feels
Yeah,
crooked like that. I don't know. Maybe my
it
square
feels
head
crooked, but it's actually
blockhead.
straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but other than that, I tell you one thing I enjoyed too was just listening to the old folks talk about their Christmas and what it was like. They
Mm,
celebrate. Listen, my dad talk, man, I would get this orange, this navel orange. I'm like, what? I mean, you back was so this is what you're talking about?
yeah.
Orange. He would get orange or a little bag of pecans or some kind of fruit. They was happy about that. And if they happened to get a cap gun, oh my God, it was like the second coming of Jesus. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was just listening to them talk about how cold it was. And, because winter used to start, well, I'm gonna say winter, but freezing temperatures would happen down in Valdosta, way down south,
That's
right
unusual.
around Cali. Yeah, I mean, it was cold. I'm talking frost on
Mm,
the ground. And
wow.
and
That is
yeah,
cool.
we had frost on the ground before Halloween came. So and he
Oh,
was like, "Oh, you don't know nothing. It was colder than that back in 1948." I'm like, "What?"
I believe it because that was and in our childhood, right? Halloween, I remember many a times having a winter coat on for Halloween
Yeah.
over our costume, and we're, because it would be cold,
Like Batman, you're cold. You're a superhero, man. You should be cold.
You should be cold.
But yeah, man. So I don't think it's different. Now, Jada, my 17-year-old, she would never, I can't even, she would never understand. She would just listen to the stories and marvel, but I can't give her what I had. You know what I'm saying?
No,
She
they're
got
gonna have their own experiences, right?
yeah, she got an I-16 cell phone and she's just been staring at it for like 5 days.
Yeah. Then she'll be
Doing
complaining
whatever she do.
the batteries don't last on it. So you're on
I
it
know.
24/7.
24 hours a day. I mean, how long you expect it to last?
Yeah, how long you expect it to last is like, yeah. Well, it says it's supposed to last for 48 hours or whatever.
Yeah. He just came close, my 41-year-old daughter. She came close to, I know, right? That's insane.
Mm.
But my
I
41-year-old.
can't wait for Jada when she goes to graduate and they're like, "Oh, your grandpa came."
That's me in my wheelchair rolling
Mm.
down the aisle. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but that's gonna be crazy. But yeah, Peaches kind of got a little taste of what it was like, you know. But that was 40 something. That was, let's say 30 years ago. It was like, holy smoke, dude. That's a lot of time. A lot of changes is taking place. She didn't have a cell phone. We didn't even know a cell phone. The only person that had a cell phone was George Jetson. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what the heck,
Or if
dude?
you
We
even go
didn't we
farther
tripping.
back, old Dick Tracy with his little
Yeah, he had to watch.
yeah, that's watch. But you can
Dang.
do now. You can actually they have that capability now.
Yeah. I saw one. It
The
was too much.
Apple Watch or whatever,
Yeah. You could do that. You could talk on your Apple Watch. Hey, baby, I'll
Yeah,
be home
you
at
can
5.
talk on it. You can put a picture or whatever.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, all of the above, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's crazy just seeing all the changes and just trying to imagine the changes that my parents have seen, you know what I'm saying? Going from what they went through, milking cows, right? I never had that experience, you know what I'm saying? But I did have cow milk delivered to the house when I was a kid, and the
Oh, we
butter,
did
the
too.
cream on top. Yeah, all that good.
Yep.
Good old days, man. Our Christmas tree. We used to have, I think we started out with a real Christmas tree when I was a kid. And then they
Yeah.
went artificial at some point. You know what I'm saying?
My
It had a
mom always insisted. It's just to share a quick story. My mom always insisted on a real tree. Even
hmm
she changed later on when it was, my dad couldn't do it or whatever. But my dad would wait and wait till the last, like 2 days. I mean, it'd be like a day before Christmas. We're out trying to find the Christmas tree.
Wait, man, did y'all go in the forest to find the tree, or there was a tree farm, or what was going on?
Well, he would go to wherever someone was selling them or whatever. But he'd wait till the last minute. And I remember him complaining that it cost $5 or $10 or whatever for a Christmas tree.
That wasn't even a joke.
No, serious. You know,
Man, now,
I
talk
don't know
about
what they
culture,
call.
man.
I personally we've had artificial tree. We did it when we first moved here. We'd get a real tree. We did it a few times, and
Really?
it
Man,
was
I thought the
such.
way this thing was depicted on TV, man, I kind of envied your culture because Bappists would go out there, they would walk through this darn tree thing, chop down the tree or whatever, put it on, strap it on top of the car, the Volkswagen, not the
Now, I ain't
Volkswagen.
gonna
What was
say
that?
we didn't do that.
But it seemed like it was fun. And
We
then they were
lived in the
singing Christmas
city.
carols,
Where do you think we were
going
going? To the
and coming.
neighbor's front yard and cut down their evergreen that they got grown? No, we lived in the city. I didn't move out to the country until I was,
You,
16.
you see my background? You see all those Christmas trees, those potential Christmas trees out there?
Hmm.
That's what I imagined that was going on where
Well,
you was at.
first off, those trees in your background are like 30 feet tall, the shortest one probably.
And there's smaller ones, I'm sure. I'm sure there's smaller baby ones, right? You go out there and get you one of those.
I would think in the country that would be more prevalent living out in the country
No,
as you
man,
get.
we didn't have that kind of pine tree, right? No, fir or whatever.
The
You've seen the
Douglas
trees that we
fir.
got down here. None of them are Christmas like. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? It's like a nightmare. That's a nightmare Christmas if you have one of these type pines down here. Like, oh
Yeah.
my, you get
Um,
laughed to scorn.
but I would think that was, you go back farther in life, timeline wise, that was probably more prevalent than someone had the epiphany. I'm going to grow Christmas trees and sell them to city folk. You know,
hmm
if they were
That was a
growing,
good tradition. I mean, it seemed like it was a tradition type thing
you
for a
could.
while.
I mean, I'm sure that again, we're talking about my dad who waited like 2 days before Christmas to get a tree for my mom because he was so that's what she wanted. He wouldn't
Yeah,
do it, he wouldn't get it ahead of time. There was Christmas tree farms you could go out to and you take your little saw and cut it down
yeah,
and haul it
yeah.
out and you give the guy $5 for the tree and
hmm
that's too much bother. Again, my dad was working. I mean, he worked. He would. I mean, there was many days in my life as a youngster where I would not see my dad from sun up to sundown.
Oh
He would.
wow.
Yeah, he would be. He'd be working. You know,
Mm, mm.
and
That was like working
yeah,
missiles or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Dang,
I mean,
that's crazy.
so we got about 10 minutes to go. So,
All right.
um, final notes on Christmas. I hope everybody I mean, I pray that everybody enjoyed their Christmas. I know there's people that are bah humbug, don't like it. Um, I I don't. It's not the same as it was growing up. I try to hold on to those same things, and pass on to my kids. And um, but they're going to have different views, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a shame, I'm sitting here listening to 1950s Christmas music,
But that was
because
the best time, well.
dude, I tell you what, they, they on the screen here is just flashing like old diners and
Hmm.
50s cars, and it's just been it's a time that they make this very nostalgic look, but those were very hard times for many people, right?
Yeah.
The 50s and the 60s,
Yeah.
but
It was.
yeah.
Definitely. But it seemed like, for whatever reason, something magical about Christmas, man, will give you a little break from whatever was going on in your
Mm,
environment. I'm sure there's some people that were suffering on Christmas Day, but but seem like the world, North America and Europe, okay, it seemed like there was no matter what was going on, even if it was World War I or World War II, man, they would we're not going to kill anybody today,
mm.
okay? We're going to
It's
take
it,
Christmas off, and
yeah,
then we're going to go back to shooting.
yeah. It should be, it's again, that's again, it's the true meaning of Christmas. You know,
Yeah.
there's a
Hmm.
change in the world when Christ was born.
Hmm.
It's supposed to bring unifying. You know,
Hmm.
love thy
Yeah.
neighbor kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's hard to say where, we sit here in 20 years from now when we're in our 80s, you know, going,
Trying to match that.
yeah, you know, you you hope that there's still some, truth to the
Love out
Christmas
there.
season, yeah, and
Yeah.
love.
I
And
hope we do. I hope we're around 20 years from now, Wayne.
yeah, me too. I'll be happy if I make it, another
Hmm.
20 years. That would be awesome. But I
Yeah.
fear where we're going, right? Physically. Um,
Hmm. Yeah. We need
and
to
who knows?
reset.
And that I pray everybody has a long life and a good life.
Hmm.
Hopefully that people are making poor decisions in life. Like myself as a youngster made poor decisions, and there's always tomorrow. Right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's been about a little over a year and a half since I lost my mom, and it's a very tough time Christmas for
Hmm.
me. So because it
Yeah.
was such an important thing. It's hard for
Hmm.
me to even talk about it because it was such an important time for my mom.
Right. Yeah. I get it, man. I definitely do. My wife, she lost her brothers. My daughter is dealing with the loss of her young son, his birthday 2 days after Christmas, but she manned up for the rest of us, she tried to keep the cheer in, what I'm saying? But
Oh
I
yeah,
know, got a missing family member. Before I went out of town, I went over her house and did a little celebration with them. And then I went down there to see my
yeah,
brother. He's trying to recover from his medical condition.
yeah,
So
and
But I say this here, Wayne, that I mean that's kind of make it gives you hope, what I'm saying, that there's a better world somewhere. And hopefully we'll see them loved ones again. And Christmas and times like this just kind of it's bittersweet, what I'm saying? At least you got great memories. I mean, you lost your mom, the great Christmases she gave you and all the effort that she put in to make you guys happy. That's awesome. Pass it
yeah. I mean,
down to
I
your
get
kids.
I don't want to slight my dad. He tried, he worked to bring that.
Hmm. Bring
Uh,
that bacon in. Yeah. She can do what she do.
yeah, it's crazy when you think about looking back. Your eyes are you know
Hmm.
opened up to the struggles and that we went through and didn't even realize they were going through it, right?
Yeah. That
Because
was the objective, man.
yeah,
That's success.
yeah,
Kids didn't even know we were struggling. You know what I'm saying? We was almost evicted from our houses. The kids didn't know we did it. I
And
mean,
no, you
hey,
know, I tell you, when my folks lost their house, which we've gone through. I've personally gone through that where, and as a young teenager, going, why, why,
hmm
why did this happen,
hmm
and there was things that
hmm
we sit there and think about today because we have so much more information today, availability, in the old bleep boop here, things
yeah,
that wasn't available to my folks growing up. They didn't know. They
hmm
couldn't afford to get a lawyer to keep them from taking their house, those kind of
yeah,
things. Um,
hmm
and it's
yeah,
unfortunate, that happened, but you know what? The plan upstairs is we don't always know.
yeah. You don't know, man.
It made
I
me
kind of like the
appreciate.
way the Jews did it, man. You could only be in debt for 7 years. After 7 years, you was out of debt. They had the thing called Jubilee. You know what I'm saying? Or Pentecost. Everybody, whatever debt you owe was gone, was wiped clean after 7 years. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I don't.
So
That's
even
hard
if
to
you lost your
even.
house, you got your house back. I thought it
It's
was a great
hard
plan.
to fathom that, right? That's
I know.
hard to, something of that nature. So, it's very important for me not to let something like that happen to me, right?
hmm
So I
Yeah.
guess that's why I pinch a penny like there ain't never going to be another penny, and because I don't want to have to go through something like that.
hmm Yeah. And even if you did, it's pray you don't, but if you did, it'll be different from, I would imagine it would be a little bit different because your kids are grown and gone, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And they're kind of like a lifeline, your kids are successful. It'll be hard to get you uprooted, okay? You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
lot of stuff gotta
Yeah,
happen.
there is, and we always sit there and say, oh, just, whatever, I could
Mhm.
sell whatever thing. But when the economy's in the tank, you ain't selling nothing because nobody's
That's
buying
true.
it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
That's why
true.
I'm very hesitant on making new debt at my age. I
Oh,
have debt. I have a mortgage, this trailer, so I have to mention the trailer every episode now because
hey,
apparently.
at least you got a trailer. All I got is this chair and the woods.
All right, we got about a minute. I'm going to end it
Yeah.
here. Say
All
hi.
right, man. Hey, Wayne, was a good talk, and I
Yes.
appreciate your friendship, man. Appreciate everything you've done. Hey, you guys just listen to Great Beers. Wayne and I, we go at it at the job sometimes. We throw jabs, we do all kinds of stuff. We get on
It's
each
all
other's
good
skin.
fun. It's all good
But
fun, right?
it's fun for him. I'm the one that's getting beat up on. But no, it's all good, man. Wayne's a
All right,
good
all
dude.
right. I'll make a resolution. I'll be nicer and not pick on you as much. And then you'll be mad. Are you mad at me?
Yeah,
You know.
that's exactly what we're gonna be. I'm like, come on, dude, bring it. Come on, let's get it.
All right.
But no, it's good, man. Appreciate everything, man. Happy holidays to everybody out there in Great
Yep.
Beard Land.
Have a great
See
New
you
Year. We'll
guys
see
next
you
week.
guys. We'll talk to you next
Mhm.
weekend. Hey, hit
2025.
hit us up with a comment what your Christmas was like and what you think.
Love
Other
to
than
hear
that,
it.
thanks again. Take care, everyone.